2018.
Okay.
Well, and if we sell the fire truck we have, then that's the money to put in to cover the deficit for next year with the payment for the 7 years. And where are we going to keep a fourth piece of or another piece of equipment? We don't have another bay in the fire station.
That would be my biggest concern. I would certainly love to keep this truck as our existing ladder truck as a spare piece, just because it would eliminate a lot of headaches for me when dealing with a piece of apparatus going down. But I would more than likely have to move our rescue truck outside of the station just because of limited space.
This shows you how much I know about trucks. So does the ladder truck have any pumping apparatus on it at all?
Ours does, and the one that we're looking at purchasing does as well. They're essentially what is called a quint in the fire service because they serve 5 purposes. Not only is it a ladder truck, but it actually serves as a pumper as well. It will carry hose, it will carry water, it will have foam capabilities on it as well, which our current engine does. That is kind of the latest in technologies and aiding us in how we fight fire.
So what's older, our present pumper or our ladder?
The ladder truck, sir.
Is older?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
One more thing, remember that the first payment's due in a year.
Correct.
Mr. Mayor, I want to caution the council we're told we have a $200,000 surplus. The fiscal year hadn't even started yet, and what may appear to be a surplus at the beginning of the year may wither away by the end of the year, especially if we have any lawsuits that force us to disgorge large amounts of money or unexpected expenses. I would only look at a surplus after it has been booked, not spend the money before it's been made.
Well, Mr. Gregory, I hear what you're saying. What do you suggest?
That we don't count on a surplus
Well,
at all
as far as-
until we get the surplus booked.
Right. As far as purchasing or not, what do you suggest?
Well, I'm in favor of purchasing this thing.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask a question?
Yep.
Chief, it's my understanding that some of the hydraulics have begun to go out on our existing ladder truck, is that correct?
That is correct. At the beginning of 2017, both lift cylinders, the cylinders that operate to actually maneuver the ladder up and elevate it, were both rebuilt because they failed. In addition, we just got it out of the shop less than a month ago because one of the outriggers, the piston that actually pushes the outrigger that stabilizes the truck when the ladder is elevated, was leaking. In a perfect world, I probably would have had both pistons serviced at the same time while it was out of service. However, being budget conscious and trying to be in the best interest of the city, I had them just rebuild the one while it was down because it was a pretty significant cost. It was about $3,000 for that repair.
Just given my experience with hydraulic systems, we have a lot of equipment that use hydraulics. It's actually to its detriment to be stagnant, and that's going to lead to further issues with hoses cracking and cylinders leaking, and so I think it's best to get rid of it while it's somewhat functional.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion, did I hear you say call for the vote?
I was getting ready to say that.
Oh, I thought you must have whispered,
Mayor,
it.
can I make a comment? If you're going to go with a 7-year financing, it would change the wording.
We do need to have an amendment.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess what we're gonna have to do is amend to include whatever payment plan we do? If it's supposedly, if it passes, is that correct?
I'd like to amend the,
Original? Go ahead.
yes, I'd like to amend the resolution regarding the purchase of the fire truck to have a 7-year finance option instead of the 5-year finance option.
Okay, do we have a motion and a second on the table at the moment? We did? Okay, so we're gonna have to, we're gonna have to get rid of that, right? Yeah, you
No,
do.
The second just opens it for discussion. Second
Oh,
opens
is this
for
an amendment?
discussion.
Amending the motion to include a 7-year finance option instead of the 5.
Okay, do I have a second on that? Okay, we have a second, all in favor? Unanimous, thank you, council. Okay, now let's go back to the original motion. So we have a, what do we have here? Okay, we have approval of resolution R 2017-12C, authorizing the city manager to purchase agreement a ladder fire truck from Siddons Martin for the purchase price of $1,500,000, not to exceed $1,900,000 in total financing, an amendment for the financing
It's
path.
1,094,000, sir.
Okay,
And $1,050,000 for the actual price. It's not $1,500,000, $1,050,000.
isn't that what I said? Okay, all right. Okay, not to exceed $1,094,000 in total financing. Total financing.
With the 7-year plan, the total financing is $1,112,000, and $900 would cover it. It's 800 and change. So $1,112,900, which basically reflects the 7-year financing that the council approved the.
Okay, so we're gonna have to go back and scrap that and start over.
All right, then let's go back to the motion, the amendment. So the amendment would be to change the terms of financing to 7 years with an amount not to exceed $1,113,000 in total financing.
Okay,
I call for a vote.
hang on. What?
Yeah, should be. Should be.
I think we should scrap it and start over.
What was the total financing that you gave? With the 7 years, it was 612,000, what?
$836, ma'am,
836.
for a total of $1,112,836.
So it would be, the amendment would be 7-year financing with an amount not to exceed $1,113,000 in total financing.
Do you make that motion?
Yes, I just did the amendment.
Yes, sir, that would
Okay.
cover it.
Did you second that motion? All in favor? Okay. All right. So then we go back to the original, and it says, we're approving the city manager on R 2017-12-12C, authorizing the city manager to sign a purchase agreement for the ladder truck from Siddons Martin for the purchase price of $1,050,000, amount not to exceed
$1,113,000.
$1,113,000. Is that correct? Including interest. Okay? We have a motion and we have a second on the table. All in favor? It is unanimous. Thank you, council. Okay.
Thank you, council.
You better call them up. Oh, better call them up. They home now? Okay. Who's going to drive that thing back? Who's going to drive it back? Where is it? Okay, Dover and I'll drive it back and we'll, anyway. Okay, the next item is, discuss the future of the street program. Mr. Trevino?
Mayor, in the interest of time and the lack of Mr. Brennan, I'd like to table this to the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Okay, Mr. Trevino would like to table that item. Sounds good to me. So we will table that item.
I'm sorry, I've been corrected by my colleague. I'd like to postpone it until the next regularly scheduled council meeting, which I believe is December 20th. Sorry, the next regularly scheduled council meeting, which is the second Tuesday in November, January.
Do you,
Sounds good to me.
So we
January
do-
the 2nd.
We do have, Mayor, if you'll recall, a special city council meeting scheduled for December 20th to talk about budget adjustments for FY, so we clean up the budget for FY 2017. And there's a couple more items, my memory doesn't serve me right now what they are.
Yeah,
So
let's not bog it down with that other thing.
I just wanted to make you aware, just remind you, we do have a meeting on the 20th, but this isn't on the agenda at this point in time.
Okay, did you want to get with him and say that right now?
January 9th is our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Okay. You guys good with that? Good. All right, so do I have a motion? Hang on, I gotta, just so everybody knows, I have a cold, and I caught it in Honduras. I took some Benadryl, so I haven't seen this sheet all night long. Okay. With that said, let's, do I have a motion for adjournment, please?
So moved.
Comments from council, here we go. Oh, announcements by council, sure enough.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I don't know if there's anything we can do about it, but when that snow came down, my power went out at 8:30, and it came on at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it was 56 degrees in my house. The dogs were snuggling with me, and we were cold. And at least 2 or 3 times a year, that happens in this city. Is there anything the city can do with CPS to ensure that the transformers that blow out every single time are clear? I was driving down the street, and these 2 huge explosions occur, and I knew that was the end of it. Can we get information from CPS if any transformers are in the city to have them cut back so that doesn't happen here in the city?
Rick, will you make a note of that, please, about the transformers, please? Thank you.
Mister, just FYI, if I found out that sanitation reported that there's a tremendous amount of trees in our alleys that CPS had to cut because it wasn't just the transformers, it was the electrical lines that were pushed down because of the weight of the tree limbs on top of those and having to repair the infrastructure prior to doing the transformers.
Wow. Rick, let's you and I get together along with, after the first of the year and visit with them, and then we'll see that that gets expedited to the front. Mr. Paul?
Yes, at the last November council meeting, a citizen brought forth the situation saying that there may be a problem with bases not moving forward because the property wasn't sold. And anyway, he was very informative, which was very helpful. So after a little looking into an investigation, bases actually closed on the property in October. They went through permitting processes and everything first part of November, and the property is being cleared. They do anticipate, again, weather, et cetera, but they do anticipate by being there for the next school year. And so I just want to bring that forth. That's good news for them, because I know they would appreciate getting rid of all the traffic themselves, as well as we would. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Alderman McLean, did you have any comments, please? Alderman Scott? JR?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to thank everybody that came out to the lighting of the lights. We had a very good time, and I appreciate everybody doing everything to make it as great as it was.
Thank you, JR. I also want to thank you for heading it up, and Minnie, you went the extra mile, I understand. Kurt?
Janet Thielen headed that effort up, and she brought the whole team together. It
Janet.
was really, the entire city staff was involved and engaged in some way, form, or fashion, so they did a great job, Mayor. We had a few residents that also volunteered, and we had some Antonian students that were phenomenal, who manned the snow skiing hill, or snow sledding hill, from the beginning to the end, and I'm sure we're freezing by the time it was over, so.
Dover, I'm sure your men jumped in, and Johnny. And I would love to have been here, but I was fighting off mosquitoes in Honduras. So with that said, everyone have a Merry Christmas or Happy Hanukkah or Happy Holiday. Bernard, do you want to say something? Come on, Bernard.
So, since you're going to have an extra fire truck, it would be nice to have it in the commons for the kids to play on, because I know playgrounds are a lot more expensive than 30,000. So, just back it up there, put it on blocks. There you go. So think about that. Just
I like your idea. If you go, Bernard, if you go, well, let's adjourn the meeting, then I'll tell you. Is the meeting adjourned? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Thank you. Meeting is adjourned. I've been looking online because I wanted to buy that fire truck and then